Okay, well, welcome to Panasonic, and in front of me we have an interesting, it's a technology marriage in many respects. This is the Varicam 35, and hopefully by the name you should realize it's a 35mm camera, PL mount. But it's a combination of different technologies. We have the ability to change resolutions from 4K to 2K, to HD, different frame rates. We can record in different codecs, we can record uncompressed. And a lot of that's driven by the fact that today there's no one format for production. I can shoot HD, I can shoot standard definition, I can shoot 2K, I can shoot 4K, I can shoot all these different formats. So what does you do in terms of, you make a movie, you make a commercial, something like that? What tools do you need? Will you need more than one tool? Will you have mixed formats? Who's going to watch it? How are you going to get it to the home, to the cinema? All these questions provide this sort of a huge matrix of possibilities and headaches, and hopefully we give you some idea of what you can do in terms of helping workflows, helping to make things easier, giving you options, parallel options. This is a new camera. It's coming out in late September of this year. This is the Varicam 35, as I mentioned before. It's one of two new Varicams, and this is a 4K 35mm camera produced primarily for the drama market, primetime television, commercials, where you're typically used fixed lighting, production is staged, it's controlled. It'll also still look on your shoulder, but this is a traditional sort of 35mm replacement style camera. But we've done a lot of feedback testing, things like that, and what we've given you, hopefully, is options to make it more creative, give you options for workflows. For example, I can shoot 4K with this camera. I can record 4K internally to the P2 cards. I can choose different types of 4K. I can choose 444 4K, which is great at 12 bits for color grading, commercial applications, pristine quality for matting, things like that. Let's say I'm doing a 4K game show for 4K television. Then I need maybe a different parameter. So 4K with ABC intro at 422 at 10 bits gives me a pristine quality, but it's more efficient. The lesser bit rate for editing, the storage, things like that. Now things like, okay, if I have 4K, what else can I do? I can tell the camera to record at 2K. I can tell the camera to record at high definition. These are options as master camera modes. Or I can do something like, I can shoot at 4K, at the same time I can generate a 2K and generate a proxy at HD. I can apply a 3D LUT or a CDL to any one of those or all of those, or the monitoring output or the viewfinder output. So I can give you choices for recording pristine quality to the P2 cards. I can record maybe an HD master with a 3D LUT built into it for some application. I can even do something like record uncompressed. This is an uncompressed recorder from codecs, working with codecs. So this clicks on the back of the camera. So now I can record 4K uncompressed, raw. I can record 4K as 444 or 422. And I can record HD or 2K with a burnt-in LUT. And I can record a proxy. I can get the proxy out by Wi-Fi to an iPad. I can do things like metadata management. I can write scripting notes, commentary. A lot of those workflow things which hopefully you do it on set makes life easier, makes life faster, fewer mistakes. If I have all the same files recorded with the same name, the same metadata, the same color correction CDL, things like that, or the XML metadata, it all tracks together. So later on, or a month later, when I'm looking for that 4K file and my notes, or where's my LUT, it's all there, basically embedded and burnt in. So we're trying to find options in terms of 4K, 2K, HD, high frame rates. This camera does 120 frames at 4K or 2K and so on like that. So you have the high-speed applications for sports. I can do things like control the camera via the iPad. So here, I'm sitting here, I can assign a 3D LUT or a CDL to any of the pipeline processing inside the camera. So I can control the camera remotely. I can control it over a network. It's a networkable digital camera, but this makes it personal, this makes it practical, this makes it affordable in many applications. So rather than having somebody doing this overnight, assuming he has all the data, we can do it in camera, in real time. It saves time and money and mistakes. This is the iPad interface. It basically mimics what's on the actual camera control panel. In this case, we're going to be basically adjusting the electronic viewfinder LUT. In this case, I can turn the CDL on. I've now turned it on. I can go into here, for example, and change things like a Rec 799 LUT on or Rec 799 LUT off. My gamma controls, again, I'm basically just adjust 2.2, in this case a Rec 799 is 2.2, and I can load that LUT. That LUT is now wirelessly sent to the camera. It's reflected as I've changed the viewfinder to give me a CDL, maybe gamma stretch, things like that, with a Rec 709 basic matrix on the way out. So I can adjust the camera to give me a real-time look at the viewfinder, even when I'm shooting relatively flat, low contrast looking content. In terms of signal quality, there's the big debate of what's going to happen. Do we want better television, more higher frame rates, things like that? The world is fragmenting, everything from web TV on iPhones up to something like a 98-inch 4K screen over here. So who is going to be the client? What does he want for a deliverable? Does he want 2K? Does he want 4K? Does he want HD? Does he want a streaming for the web? You can generally create all of those. It helps to have a high quality master. If I start with 4K, I can make pristine quality 2K or HD. If I start with HD, I can make a pristine quality web streaming service. This camera will do all of those. In terms of things like frame rates, if I want to do sports at 120 frames per second, to slow it down to 24, that's a 5-to-1 overcrank. I can get that very slow motion sports effect in camera. Basically, it's one of the things where it's a huge raster of options in terms of you can basically choose frame rates, I can choose formats, I can choose color correction, I can choose metadata workflows, and basically just route map my output from these various sources embedded in the camera. This camera has a new codec technology called ABC Ultra, and that basically it's effectively H.264 expanded to very many wide applications. We have 444 at 12 bits, great for commercial applications, great for color grading. The camera has about 15 stops of latitude, 14.5, 15 stops of latitude. So having a 12-bit codec means I can create superb quality masters with superb quality color correction capability. I can have a 422 at 10 bits, which is the ABC Intra codec at 4K, and that's very, very affordable. 24p at 4K with ABC Intra is about 240 megabits per second. That's the same as ProRes HQ, which is an HD format. So I'm doing 4K, 4 times the resolution at the same bit rate. So that's very efficient in terms of editing systems, servers, backing up, LTO storage. It's just efficiency versus quality. And here we're sort of giving you both. So the proxy is free. The proxy we can stream out to a tablet. This choice is a proxy in terms of 6 megabit, which is basically better than HD broadcast today. That makes a great proxy. You can see things like focus in there. You have built-in metadata from the color correction, time codes, scripting is all there. So this sort of parallel operation of formats, frame rates, codec choices, all on the same timeline, the same metadata, over file formats, which are more or less universal. Gives the end user, whether they be a film student or somebody doing a high-end movie or a commercial, a lot of options. They may want to chop and change it from day to day, but basically it's just literally a menu choice. Pick it up. This is our interface, so this gives you a HD viewer. Very simple interface. Basically, press video, press frame rate. You're about 2 clicks from doing anything on the camera. It's not a complicated menu. It's very intuitive, and hopefully this will provide users with a lot of hopefully ease of use, and they can control the camera very quickly. You don't have to learn a new system. And this works on both sides. This is the AC side. It also works on the other side for the DP. Handheld. This menu is also duplicated on the iPad, so you'll be able to control this remotely. The camera is modular. So we have the camera head. In this case, this is a 35mm PL mount. The back end, this is the recorder. This is the P2 recorder. And we can split these two via a cable up to about 70 feet. So when we put my camera on a crane or a jib, I can quite simply connect it to a simple cable and have the recording locally, the control locally, and the camera up on a high jib. 20 meters to 70 feet, that's a lot, pretty high jib. We have another camera head for this. This is called the Varicam HS. The same body, but we have a 2/3 V4 mount 1080p high-speed camera up to 240 frames per second. So again, it's a different tool set, different application. Running gun in documentary applications. Whenever you need things like large zoom lenses, a 42:1 zoom lens is almost the standard for natural history production. They make nothing like that in the PL35 mount. It doesn't work. So we've given you a 35mm camera, which is optimized for 35mm production. We've given you a Varicam HS camera, which is optimized for 2/3 sort of Super 16. These are the best tools for the best jobs, and they provide you the toolkits in both genres. Simplistic operation, ND filter wheel, PL mount on the front, user buttons. Press something very quickly, do something like go from Vlog to 709. These are controllable, obviously. So hopefully it's a camera which is functionally simplistic, very, very operationally powerful and flexible. Same recorder, different heads. In the future, we may add different applications, something like a 4K 2/3, possibly, who knows. It's really where the market goes. This is an OLED viewfinder. Anybody over the age of 29, like myself, the eyes tend to go. So we have a 2x optical zoom in the viewfinder, as well as a diopter. If you're doing critical focus, you need to see the pixels. Makes life easier. The OLED gives you superb contrast and no motion blur, things like that. You can track moving objects. So a lot of basically end users, it took a year getting feedback from end users, sports people, documentary people, primetime cinema people. All those different genres are reflected in terms of what they wanted. There was a surprising overlap of about 85%, with some pockets of differentiation, but hopefully between the two camera heads and the cameras, we've given you most of that available push of a button, basically. The IOs, as you can see on the side here, they don't stick you in the back. They're robust, won't break off. Have a LAN connector on here, 100 T LAN connector. We can talk to the camera remotely from a laptop or from a server, or remotely basically to control it, or download content and stream content from it. Power outputs, viewfinder outputs, power for the lens. So I think we've got most of it. Should you find anything we've forgotten, please tell us. We'll try and add it to this, either the software or the next model. But a lot of hard work has gone into this to hopefully give the end users the cameras they were looking for to do what they do best, which is creativity. Hopefully this is a good tool for the job.
For more information, please visit our website at www.digitalcinemacourse.com.